Gojo versus Daemon. A immovable object versus an unstoppable force. Who wins? Before we start, I'd like to let everyone know scaling is not the main factor here. We can use hacks to decide this outcome. Let's start with Gojo, the honored one. The Infinity, that which being one of Gojo's main arguments allowing him to win most fights. Some of you might ask, what is the Infinity? Well, the Infinity is a divergent series. It is an infinite series that is not convergent, meaning that the infinite sequence of the partial sums of the series does not have a finite limit. If a series converges, the individual terms of the series must approach zero, with them also announcing it's also like the Achilles and the tortoise paradox, where Achilles would never reach the tortoise, just how the opponent would never reach Gojo. However, Gojo adds more context about this ability. The ability in itself is automatically triggered, not passive. The reason I say this is Gojo states this himself. What he was doing manually, he can do automatic now. But he is able to sort and filter these things for the Infinity to be able to do on its own. For an example, Gojo clearly states that he can sort these by mass, speed, and shape. But there's a downside to this ability. Can Gojo stop his own attacks? The obvious answer being no. For an example, in the fight of Gojo vs Sukuna where he nuked the entire area and he still sustained damage from his own attack. Now I can smell the comments and I understand you're all gonna scream at me and say, well, he's not gonna take that much damage because it's its own cursed energy and he can still use physical attacks. Then let's move on to Daemon, the number one. Daemon, his ability to reflect is quite simple. Any attack, whether it be intent or harm's way, will be reflected. Now I can smell the comments, but he has to be touching someone with the palm of his hand. Well, the person who clearly states that is Bug, not even the person who created him, which that being Amato. Let's say Bug is correct. Amato states himself there's more than one way that the ability works. Daemon is an irritating pesky brat, just be careful not to aim murderous intent towards him no matter what, because that too will be reflected. It depends on certain conditions, it all will rebound back to you. Now focus on the words that too, meaning that there's more than one, there's three. Kawaki also testing this ability out, showing you further example that his palm doesn't need to be on the opponent. Seeing this, there's no possible argument that you can make for Gojo to even lay a scratch on him or to fire off an attack against Daemon. And if you don't believe in this demons, we have multiple different occasions on when he has reflected an ability without using the palm of his hand. But now to answer all of this, a immovable object versus an unstoppable force. The winner is Daemon.